It is Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at Booking.com. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Tommy along for the ride as well on Hump Day, which is a very busy day for my buddy, Trevor Plouffe.
Yeah, we had the rain out yesterday for the Twins game. I'm doing pre and post here in my studio. So I guess, I had some time yesterday. I had a great barbecue day, Chris. I ripped it up out there. I made some ribeye caps, a couple of tri-tips. I got a bunch of leftovers today. But with that off day comes a lot of responsibility today. So it doesn't. I love it. I get to watch 2 baseball games. I get to talk ball with you. I'm not complaining.
No, you shouldn't. You had a nice Tuesday, but not as good a day as Rhys Hines had, who I think now has set a record with a second straight tip of the cap. Boy, he hit one 447 his debut game in the major leagues. This one went 458. He now is the first player since 1901 to have 5 extra base hits in his first 2 games. Dude is rolling.
The insurance run king. Just ask him, man. That's a big boy part of the yard to go. I know the ball flies in Cincy, and we've seen some big homers there, but up there, that's reserved for pure power hitters, man. And he swings like a power hitter.
You know what? There were so many great things that happened in our amazing game on Tuesday that we deserve a second tip of the cap, and this one might sound familiar.
His career's pitching line, third of an inning, 1 hit, 3 earned runs, 2 walks. That 1 home run allowed to Trevor Plouffe. Editors at John Boy scrambling to unearth that footage.
Oh, Steven Nelson, you know us so well, and we did unearth the footage and put it out on our Talking Baseball, I believe, media clip site. So did it feel good to see this again?
It's just funny to me. That's funny that was my last ever home run in the big leagues. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just that's. I guess it would happen to me that way. But it's cool to see. I don't know. I remember the night very like it was yesterday, dude. And I put out. I commented like, how many people get to hit a walk-off home run and go hug Gabe Kapler? Like it's pretty good. There
Actually,
it is.
It's probably pretty long line. Probably, I'm guessing pretty long line of people.
5?
No, I'm kidding. It was nice to see that yet again. One other thing before we do get rolling. Want to remind you that next Tuesday is the All-Star Game. If you are in Texas, you don't have tickets to the All-Star Game, come hang with your friends at John Boy Media. We got our All-Star Party. It's going to be awesome. It's at a great venue down there. There are still tickets remaining, so click on the link here in the description on our YouTube channel, or if you're just listening audio only, go find us on our social media. It's all over the place. It is a really fun night. We get to hang out. We get to have some drinks. We get to have laughs together. We get to do trivia. There's merch that you can buy. It's a great event. This is the 4th time we've done it, and it has been a rousing success. So go be part of our John Boy Media family. We will see you in 6 days down in Arlington, Texas.
I can't wait, Chris.
I know. It's going to be awesome. We leave Sunday. It's going to be a blast. Now, the reason Kike Hernandez was actually on the mound for the Dodgers was because the Phillies took it to him.
Very much. Fly ball, left field, going back Vargas, toward the wall, it is gone! Grand slam, Trey Turner!
Okay, so 4.5 games is the difference between the Phillies and the Dodgers. Does it feel more significant than that in terms of a wider gap?
I think at this very moment, yes, it does. I think these teams will eventually match up pretty evenly, but right now it's the starting pitching difference. I mean, the Dodgers have been going through injuries the entire year, and the Phillies have had their steady rotation going the entire year, and they've had a bunch of guys. Christopher Sanchez has had a great year. Rangers stepped it up even more so over previous years. They have the 2 guys, Nola and Wheeler, doing it, obviously, but I think that's the biggest difference. Right now, I mean, LA is relying on a bunch of young dudes to stabilize their rotation, as Glasnow is now hurt. Kershaw working his way back. Yamamoto's out. Buehler, hurt. So I think that's the difference between these 2 teams. Everything else, the Dodgers lineup is still potent, even without Mookie Betts and Max Muncy. I know the Phillies are dealing with injuries or had been dealing with injuries of their own as well in that regard, but both these offenses are fine. The bullpens are good. It's just been the difference to me in the starting pitching that that the Dodgers have been able to roll out there and the Phillies have been able to roll out there. Bobby Miller is a guy that I thought was going to be, take that next step up this year. And he just hasn't found it. I mentioned, I think on yesterday's show about, the days of rest, he's been kind of all over the place, but that's not really an excuse for how poorly he's pitched this year. So it does feel like a wider gap. By the end of the year into the postseason, we'll probably be talking about these two teams pretty similarly, though.
Yeah, it does feel wider than 4.5 games, and you nailed it with the pitching. Last night did go on the injured list. Zach Wheeler got pulled last night for precautionary reasons with a little bit of a twinge in his lower back. We'll see how that works out. Bobby Miller, I think, is the perfect example of where it's kind of gone wrong, if it has gone wrong for the Dodgers. And if you actually go back the last 2 months, they have not been a great baseball team. They've been a solid baseball team. But their record hasn't blown anybody away. It's just nobody else in the West has kind of put together a great run to the point where anybody can significantly close the gap and make them sweat a little bit. They're really kind of fighting against themselves. But go watch Dave Roberts' clip after the game last night. He looks shell-shocked when he's talking about Bobby Miller because he knows that this team is going to be limited where they can go if, A, Bobby Miller does not get back to his rookie form, or B, they don't make a significant trade. And I am just curious because this team has been willing to pull the trigger on some awfully big deals, right? Whether it's pitching help to go get a Max Scherzer, get Trey Turner thrown into that, go get a Yu Darvish, go get a Manny Machado. They have not been afraid of going to get the superstar. And I am just curious if they, not that there's a ton of guys, but if they want to try and get a Garrett Crochet and kind of massage the innings, limitation he might face in the second half, like that is a dude that could be a game changer for them come October.
Yeah, I mean, they've typically been risk takers with the guys they go acquire with starting pitching. They don't care about the injury history. They don't care about the innings limit. So, I mean, I'd assume they'd be in on Garrett Crochet. They have a ton of, top 100 prospects that can be dealt, and they have a bunch of guys locked up for a long time. So essentially blocking those guys, it makes sense for them to go get some starting pitching depth, which is crazy to me because going into the season, it's what they had, starting pitching depth, a bunch of guys, whether they were already in the rotation or guys waiting in the wings to come. They get rid of Pepio, in the Glasnow trade, but then extend him. So like they had starting pitching depth. It just, man, it's been decimated by injuries, a little bit of poor performance. But to go back to your original question, that's definitely the thing that's separated the Phillies from the Dodgers so far this year.
And one last stat for you. I know that we live in a very different starting pitching evaluation world when it comes to statistics, but I do want to give a tip of the cap to the law firm of Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez. They became the first Phillies triumvirate to each have 10 wins before the All-Star break.
I love that. I'm looking up games, like how many pitchers do they use to start games? Only, and they, Jose Alvarado, no, excuse me. So Mercado started 2, Turnbull started 7, but by and large, it's been a Walker, Sanchez, Ranger. So it's only 7 pitchers who started games.
Yeah, which through this, particularly on a day where even if you have a bullpen game, like most teams have had to have bullpen games, they don't.
That's an awesome statistic for them.
Yep. It's one of the many reasons that they're the best in baseball, and I'm donning the Phillies cap, which I love to wear. And don't forget to go listen to Brandon Marsh. We've gotten a lot of run with some really interesting clips out there. Go watch the whole thing. He's really, really good.
11 for the Dodgers.
Wow. Significant difference there. Blake Snell was really, really good as he returned to the mound last night for the first time in 5 weeks. 5 innings of shutout, 1 hit ball, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, no decision against the Blue Jays, who had the lead going into the bottom of the 9th. But then their bullpen, which has been an unmitigated disaster, gave it up. There was a walk-off wild pitch win. So that means the Giants are now just 2.5 back in the wild card chase. So they've got Snell back. Robbie Ray threw another rehab outing last night, and I think he went 3 innings. How good do you feel about San Francisco in the second half?
I guess I feel better about their chances in the second half, but, the bullpen you mentioned, maybe that's a byproduct of, not having enough starting pitching in the first half. So maybe that gets better when you bring all these guys back and you have guys that can go hopefully a little bit deeper into the games. But the offense also has kind of just been, for lack of a better term, mid. I mean, they got some good offensive players out there, but right now, if you're looking at, where they rank in the NL, it's 15th in OPS, 14th in runs, 21st in homers, and dead last in stolen bases. So like they're not really doing anything particularly well. So do I feel better about them in the second half? Sure. Do I see that they're only 2.5 games out of a wild card game? Sure. So could they go on this run? Can the offense improve? Can the bullpen get better because the starting pitchers are there? Yes, all that could happen, but that's a lot of stuff to happen. So whether, they're going to have to decide, is this team our team? And can they just get better because we're getting a little bit healthier? Or are they going to go make a move for a bullpen piece? Are they going to go add an offensive player? They added a lot in the offseason. So to me, that usually, signifies that teams probably won't go out and make splashes. They might do some incremental additions, but I feel better about them, Chris, but I'm not like waving like hey, here come the Giants flag. I can't do that just yet.
Well, interestingly enough, when the amazingly awesome Katie Wu sat in for you on Monday, the Giants were my pick out of that clutter of wild card teams to really kind of keep your eye on because Snell was coming back. I was curious to see if he could get pointed in the right direction. And I actually watched most of his start last night. Like he kept the pitch count down, which is very un-Blake Snell-like. But when he's doing that, that's the sort of thing that can really kind of change the dynamic of an entire rotation. Alex Cobb is also going to be coming back. That's one name I didn't mention. It feels like maybe the beginning of August for him, which is just another arm that can help them. They're going to have to be a pitching and defensive team because you mentioned it. The offense is okay. Like they've got some guys that seem to be growing up in front of our eyes. Patrick Bailey's a really good player. Brett Wisely is a kind of an interesting dude. Late Night Lamont, I need you to get back to what you were in April and May before that hamstring injury kind of took away your season a little bit here. Chapman has been solid. Soler, I need a little bit more out of him. And then, Ramos has been utterly fantastic. And it's just, he did it again last night. So I think they're a fascinating team to watch. And I would like to see them fill that ballpark in the second half of the season, at least, stay within a couple of games of the wild card. I'm really rooting for it.
I am too. I really am. I mean, they are right there. But again, it's like, do you just count on the guys that you have to get better, or do you go out and make some sort of improvement? I mean, that's the decision they have to make.
It's a great question. Hey, this episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. So here we are, almost in the middle of July. You still have at least another month, I would think, before the kids have got to go back to school. So there's still time to book your favorite vacation spot. And what I mean by that is if you're a huge baseball fan, why don't you just try something new and make it one of your favorite vacation spots? We're talking about visiting your rivals' cities. So they got hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more available right at your fingertips on Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay, yes, even in your baseball rivals' cities. So let's take whatever team you're a fan of. Let's say you're a San Francisco Giants fan and you want to watch your team as they get hot in the second half. All right, you've been to LA before. Maybe you haven't been to San Diego. Maybe you haven't even been to Arizona, but you want to go check it out because you love 120-degree weather. So go check out, find a perfect place on Booking.com. You can stay maybe somewhere near the stadium. You're always like, I don't want to go see the Diamondbacks ballpark. I definitely don't want to. But then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I've never done it. This is the perfect time. Let's go find it. So you go find the perfect place at Booking.com. You go have a great time in Phoenix. You go watch the Giants pick up a win over the Diamondbacks and, put a little distance between themselves and the D-backs and the wild card standings. And all of a sudden you've had the perfect summer vacation. So my point is the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals, even if it's 120 degrees outside. So book today on Booking.com, an official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball, on the site or in the Booking.com app today. All right. You know who else is coming in the National League wild card? The Pittsburgh Pirates. They are just, 3.5 out of the wild card chase? Maybe a little less after Pittsburgh's slugger took it to his old team in Milwaukee.
This year. And a fly ball to right field. Hit deep. Rowdy Tellez gets Rowdy with his 100th career home run.
Yeah, let's get it right, by the way, Rose. Just 3 games back of the wild card chase as Rowdy Tellez hits an individual milestone, 100th career homer for the big man. Do you remember your 100th career home run, by the way?
I do. Welcome to the 100th Homer Club. It was against Iwakuma, I believe, for the Mariners
Yes, it was.
in Oakland, he threw me a hanging curveball, hit it out to dead center. It's a nice swing.
Yeah, that's nice for them. And he's been swinging the bat a little bit better. Now, this came on the heels of a very interesting story. And give me some time here. This was a column by John Peroto. He covers the Pirates for PGH Baseball Now. Bucks owner Bob Nutting told the media at the end of June that he would be willing to be a deadline buyer. However, Peroto said the comment made many members of the Pirates front office, quote, furious. They felt Nutting's comments were, quote, misleading at best. He quoted an unnamed source in the front office that said, Bob implied we're going to have money to spend. He got fans very excited, but he told us we don't have any money to make significant additions. Is Nutting selling the fans short if he doesn't okay upgrades before the trade deadline with this pitching staff?
I think if you come out and say that, you have to make a move. We talked about this before. When he said that, we were like, hey, it's kind of cool to see it. And now we talked about this. We said, you have to do it. And now here we are. I mean, how long ago was that? Like 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen one move. And he wanted to strike early. That's what they're saying. And now there's this disconnect apparently between the front office and the owner because they're saying, well, we need the okay to go out and add to the payroll. You can't just swap a minor league prospect for a big leaguer and not add to the payroll. I mean, I guess technically you could if you're, DFAing somebody that's making some money and you're bringing that person in, but you're not going to upgrade that way. That's just going to typically be, I mean, there's very few and far between deals that can do that, where it's just like a straight up, that's the salary or the payroll is going to stay the exact same. So that's very interesting. And who knows if there is a disconnect or if maybe Nutting just hasn't clarified enough, like, hey, yeah, you guys can go spend some money. That's kind of been like what's been going on with the Pirates. They haven't had a large payroll for what? When's the last time they were top 10 in the payroll world ever?
It's been a long time. They went into this season with only the A's trailing them, and allegedly the A's are leaving town. So this is a little bit different.
I mean, look, my take on this is if you come out and say, yes, we're going to make additions. And I believe Cherington also came out and said that they were going to, after hearing his owner say that, like, yeah, of course, let's go make some. A GM's like, heck yes, dude. Like, let me do my job. Let me do my work. This is what I do, is put a roster together. I would be, if I was a Pirates fan, crazy upset at what's come out so far. And I'd be upset because you mentioned, let's strike first. Let's be first at the trade deadline. And you haven't done anything yet. So it's an interesting situation, man.
Well, I have to start this off by saying I don't know Bob Nutting at all. I've never met him, never shaken hands. Some owners I have over the years said hello and met them. I don't know him one bit. I think he has put the front office in an extremely difficult position because we don't know what's transpiring behind closed doors. Is it possible that their guy, Ben Cherington, the architect of the team, is walking into the owner's office and saying, hey, listen, we have a chance to add these players that can help us right now, but it means adding this amount of money to the payroll. And Bob Nutting can say, yeah, I'm not comfortable doing that. He doesn't have to go on the record. He's not the one that's going to have to face the media again as to why you weren't able to pull the trigger with a fantastic young starting rotation, try and go for it. And he can just hide. And Ben Cherington isn't going to be able to air out his owner and say, well, we had some deals on the table, but I went to ownership and they said, no, don't spend the money, because my guess is that Ben Cherington likes having a job. So he's going to have to wear it. And you know what he's going to have to do? If you hear the following phrase, I'm going to guess this is how it went down. Yeah, you know what? We had some deals on the table. We just weren't comfortable with how it exactly matched up. They wanted X. We were willing to give Y, and so we didn't get to Z. And if you hear that, then know that Ben Cherington had a deal on the table that he really liked and that ownership did not rubber stamp it.
Yeah, I think that would be a difference maker in the trade deadline, this year, with what salaries are you willing to eat? Because teams will go that route. It doesn't have to be a prospect, hey, we love this guy, take it, and then you can have this guy. Like a lot of the times, as we've seen, in years past, it's like, okay, you can have this guy, we'll take that prospect, but you're also taking this guy who's making X amount of money. And some teams will do it. Like we talked about, Steve Cohen up in New York. He'll take on salary, dump it out of there, and just release the guy and eat it to get a better prospect. Or, in this case, it would be to get that better player. And yeah, you're right. If Nutting's like, actually, no, I don't want to do that, Cherington can't go and throw him under the bus, essentially.
Right. No, he can't do that.
It is a difficult situation. And not even that, Chris. Like, there are times where, hey, even if you had ownership's blessing to go do that, the other team has to agree to it.
That part is accurate. Now, I have read that, the Pirates would love to get out of Ke'Bryan Hayes' contract. Defensively, he's a stud. Offensively, he is not. And that's a lot of money. I think they gave him $70 million. That's behind Brian Reynolds, his 9-figure extension that he got, and he's playing up to that. Ke'Bryan Hayes on an offense which is consistently feels like bottom 6 or 8 in virtually every category, that's not going to be good enough. So maybe if they're willing to eat some salary on him and send him back somewhere, so they pare him down from, whatever it is going to be somewhere down the line, a 10 or 12, $15 million a year player to 8 or 9 for the other team, that's a little bit easier for them to swallow instead of what they're looking at. But we'll see. I'm curious because I think the Pirates are in a fascinating situation. If they ever did get into a short series, if they can get Jones back healthy, he's on the injured list, you run out Skeens, and Jones back-to-back with Mitch Keller as your third guy. Look out in a short series. That could be fun. We wish him luck. Very quickly, we're going to kind of make a left turn here. Obviously, big news in the baseball world happened on Tuesday with Wander Franco. He is the Tampa Bay Rays shortstop that has been formally charged with sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against a minor down in the Dominican Republic. He continues to be on administrative leave from Major League Baseball. And then there was a following report early this morning that he might have been involved in human trafficking as well. It is an extremely disturbing story. We just need to mention it. We are kind of a news-ish sort of show. I wanted to at least put it out there, just let people know that that's going on. We really don't have any other comments. He's not active. He can't play in Major League Baseball. It is an extremely disturbing story, and the legal course, it's going to run its course down there in the Dominican Republic, which is very different than here in the States. But we at least wanted to get on the record and say that we are at least keeping our eye on that. As for the Rays, they did get a big win against the New York Yankees, who continue to stumble. They have lost 17 of 23 now. Brian Cashman, their GM, actually made this trip down to the Tampa St. Pete area, and he's like, yeah, we got to get going.
It's just been a struggle, obviously. So, and you're right. Thankfully we got out of the gates really strong. So hopefully, that cushion will allow us to, work through this hopefully sooner than later because it's gone on long enough. But yeah, it's been a tough stretch for us.
Okay, a lot of Yankee fans are trying to figure out where do we go with the blame game? Do we go players? Do we go Aaron Boone? Do we go Brian Cashman? Let's focus on the last two. How much heat should Cashman and Boone be getting for this sluggish performance?
I don't think Cashman should get it just yet. I mean, this is the time where he can make a difference with this team. Everyone was praising how good this team was and the length of the lineup and all of these things when they were going good. Okay, now the team has underperformed recently. The offense has gone completely missing. So now this is time for Cashman. Cashman can, make trades. He can go get the Ryan McMahons. You can go get, Jonathan India or somebody like that. Add some people to the bullpen. This is the time. So I don't think you can't be mad at Cashman just yet. If he doesn't do anything, then yeah, then you can say, well, our GM isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is providing us with a winning roster, especially in New York where the payroll restrictions aren't there. Okay. As far as Boone, there's not much he can do. Like there's one, I saw a clip when, they do Boone with Talking Yanks and our network, which is still blows my mind that he comes on there and he speaks so candidly. And I think Jimmy and Jake do a good job pressing him on some questions. And Jimmy was asking about the lackadaisical play. Mm-hmm. There's been some base running, whether it's Volpe, whether it's DJ LeMahieu, whether it's Glaber, there's been some lackadaisical play. Trent Grisham out there in center field, he mentioned. and Boone wasn't ready to kind of sound off on his guys. And I think that's the one area where a manager can make a difference. A manager can say, hey, yeah, that's not okay. Like, especially like that franchise and what fans expect out of them. Like, I think it's the players would understand Boone being like, these guys can't be playing like that. DJ's been playing long enough. He can't be lackadaisical. Volpe can't make that base running mistake. He's got to hustle there, knowing that a double play could be turned. Like Grisham is a Gold Glover. He's got to be better out there and coming and getting that ball in center field and not letting someone take a double right in front of his face. Like, I think it would. I think the players would be totally fine. I know Boone wants to keep, he wants to keep that clubhouse together. Sometimes a clubhouse does need a little pushing in that regard. So I think Cashman still has time to. He's not to blame yet. Boone, I think, could have been a little bit harder on some of those plays, as they're going through this time, and I think the clubhouse would have reacted just fine to it. But really, in the end, and I'd be a fool, or you couldn't trust what I say about managers if I didn't say, hey, it's the players. The players got to get going, dude. Like, that's it. The players on the field are the ones that win and lose the game. So it's mostly on them. And then what I just said about Boone and Cashman.
I would go in order: players, Cashman, Boone. That's my order. I put Cashman ahead slightly because we talked about this, I believe, yesterday, that if the Yankees aren't hitting the ball over the wall, it feels like they can't win any other way. We said going into the year that their rotation was a huge question mark behind Garrett Cole. That's when they first lined up to go to camp. And then Garrett Cole had his arm issue. And then we went, well, now everybody's got a question mark in the rotation. Well, Rodon came out the first few starts, looked great. Luis Hill has been incredible, except for about 3 starts. So way, way better than anybody ever expected. Stroman, I think, has been solid, has been a good pickup for them. Nestor has been pretty good. So the rotation has been a mess the last month, just like the rest of their team. But sometimes when your rotation is struggling, other areas have to pick it up. And it just feels like, with the exception of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, we talk about nothing else offensively. We talked about how they haven't had a stolen base in more than 20 games. Like, that is insane. That is insane to me, that thought process. Rice has been phenomenal since he came up. But are we really, are Yankee fans like, yes, he's going to be the third head of that 3-headed monster offensively? No, I mean, that's not how it should be with this team. Volpe's numbers could end up worse than they were as a rookie. They get a little bit out of Austin Wells. Everybody says when Stanton comes back or when Jason DeMay. That's not how you want to run your life if you're the New York Yankees.
I think the roster that he put together is just fine. And even, I know it's inflated by the first, month and a half or 2 months, but they're still first in the league in runs, second in homers. I know a lot of that's, Aaron Judge, fourth in OPS, fourth in OBP. The offense has gone cold. But at the beginning of the year, we weren't talking this way, Chris. We were talking about, I can't believe, like, DJ LeMahieu at the bottom of that lineup that's crazy good at bats. I called the games for the Twins against the Yankees, and they were going off, and it was Juan Soto jersey night, and everyone was so happy and everything was going on. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's just gone cold. So it's part of the game. Like, those guys need to step it up on the field. I don't think this is that flawed of a roster. Besides, the stolen bases, that sucks. Not, every once in a while, not being able to throw a runner out on the bases, not great. Like I said, I think Cashman put together a roster. Now he's seen like what he has. He has to go make some moves. And if he doesn't, then I'll put him second on my list. But right now, I think he's third.
Okay. Listen, we're here smack dab in the middle of summer. I don't know, guys, if you're like me, when you open your closet and you're like, I've got 1 million clothes in there, and none of them are perfect. Some of them are uncomfortable. They're tight. They seemingly never have my size. They don't go with anything that I've really got. We need, as far as dudes, to get together, and we are due for a radical reinvention. And that's where Roan has stepped up to the challenge. Roan's commuter collection, it is the most comfortable, breathable, truly versatile set of products known to man, and here's why. They have products for every occasion. So we're talking about the world's most comfortable pants, which is a big deal for guys that are shaped like me, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, blazers. They look great as individual pieces. They work seamlessly together. Roan's signature 4-way stretch fabric. It is breathable. It is flexible. It works everywhere from your commute to work out to the 19th hole. And that breathable, flexible stuff is so important, particularly when you're sweating your ass off in the middle of July. So it is time for unparalleled confidence without all the hassle. Roan's commuter collection features wrinkle release technology. It's 100% machine washable. It looks good. It is that easy. It's treated with Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. For more wears between washes, you'll be feeling fresh and clean all day long, and that's what I love. So the commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes right after that. So head on over to roan.com/today. When you use that promo code today, you're going to save 20% off your entire order. 1/5. That is 20% off your entire order when you head on over to Roan. RHONE.com/today. Use that code today. It is time to find your corner office comfort. Go do it today. You'll thank me later. Quick note from the super chat. Mike Velasquez sent us in a nice little tip. Thank you very much. Mike said, I'm an aviation student working at Angel Stadium over the summer. Have met some broadcasters and players. Any advice for getting into baseball ops? Mike, first of all, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I would tell you this. Go down. I imagine you have access to the field. When you do, go meet the ushers that are on the field. Those guys know everybody. Introduce yourself, the men and women down there, and say, hey, where's the head of baseball ops here? Can you point that person out to me? And they'll say, yeah. You go up, you introduce yourself. You say, hey, I'm Mike Velasquez. I'm an aviation student, but I'm working here at the stadium over the summer. I'm having a great time. I work for so-and-so. I just want to introduce myself, and I'm talking to as many people as possible in the organization. I know you're super busy, but if you have 5 minutes for somebody that is working here this summer and desperately wants to get in this industry, I would love to pick your brain. You name the time, I will show up there. That's how I would do it. I think anytime you can talk to as many people as possible, wherever you are working throughout a summer, whether it's a paid job or an internship, I always feel like that's the way to go. Because if you talk to 100 people and they each give you one idea, you walk away with 100 new ideas that you can take into your future.
I like that. I was gonna say, take the initiative, man. I think that shows a lot, especially in today's generation. Go and first of all, treat everybody, like Chris said, from every walk of life at that stadium, treat them with respect. That goes probably the farthest of anything that you can do. But then, yeah, just go up and ask somebody, say, and tell them you want to be part of the organization. Perry Manazian, the GM there, started, at the bottom, a bat boy.
Right.
So he understands where you're at. If you go show the initiative, I think that's the best thing that you could do.
That's a big deal. All right, before we get out of here for the day, how about the year for Kyle Higashioka? Higgy continues to do it. He's got well over an 800 OPS, hit his career high 11th homer last night. And maybe it's because he got his day started the right way. He went on Ben and Woods, which is a really good morning show down in San Diego, and he brought his guitar with him.
Come on, dude. That is incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty good. I like it. So Higgy was doing his thing. He was shredding a little bit. What is the one talent you wish you had outside of, I don't know, being a great baseball player and being a podcast host?
I almost brought my guitar out here, and I was going to rip it up for you a little bit. And I could play a little bit. I could play.
Okay.
It's singing. I wish I could sing. Like, that is the one thing. If there's one thing musically that gets me going, gives me chills, is when somebody can sing. They can really sing. I just respect it so much. And I can't do it, man. I can't carry a melody that way. I can't hit all the notes. And I don't know if I can learn it, take lessons or something like that. But I think people that are gifted and can have a voice like that, I mean, I would love to do that.
I am always amazed because it always ends up all over my social media timeline. All these singing shows, whether it's America's Got Talent or Idol or The Voice and all the foreign versions of those shows that they've expanded to. Like, I am amazed at the number of fantastic voices we have on this planet. It
gets
really
me
is.
going. I love watching those shows too. I watch them with my kids, like a lot of the America's Got Talent and all those things, A Voice. I like those.
Yeah, no, it's great. For me, I wish I could write a 5 to 10 minute comedy set, because I would love to go give it a shot. And maybe that's my goal, somewhere down the line, is to just do a 5-minute comedy set somewhere. But because I think I could nail the timing aspect of comedy, I don't know if I'm funny enough to write a 5-minute set.
I like that for you. That's a big challenge. I would like to see you try that.
I know.
How about I take voice lessons and you work on your set, or have someone kind of like come help you out a little bit with it, and then we'll get you set up at a club. I'll come out there and watch you.
Yes, I would.
And then I have to go to an open mic. Oh no, actually, I don't want to do this. I'm out.
Yes, we're in. Yeah. Have you ever gotten on stage to sing?
No. I mean, like grade school stuff, sure. Everyone's got.
No, I'm talking about when you were out. No.
Oh, you know what? That's a lie. Of course I have. My rookie year, Jim Tomey's 40th birthday party. Afterwards in Chicago, we went to Howl at the Moon, and they freaking made me go up on stage, and I sang "Friends in Low Places" by Garth, which is an easy song to sing. And I crushed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is there any
easy
video?
One. I could sing that one. No, this was 2010. Like, videos were like, that wasn't a thing. You had like a real camera back in the day to get videos.
That's nice. I'm like I'm a mid singer, is I think what you call it. Like, I can hit some notes, but not a lot. People have heard me sing "Oh Canada" here. That doesn't really count since that's an anthem. Yeah, that was solid. Okay. But I could bring it a little. We should all go out, and next time we have one of our warehouse games, we should go out and go to karaoke.
Okay.
No, you're not.
I don't really like it. I'm like a little embarrassed by it, but I'll do it for you.
Why? What do you care?
Give me a few drinks. I'll do whatever.
You're with friends and family. We're family. You can't get up in front of your family and make yourself look like an idiot. That's the fun part.
Might be worse in front of your friends and family. This is like strangers. I don't care about that.
Oh gosh, you're so serious all the time. I'm gonna drag your ass out the next time we're up in beautiful Jersey City.
Won't you
find a good area?
You want you try to drag me out of there, right?
Yeah, I have my go-to song. I always sing the Hanukkah song by Adam Sandler, and I crush that. Let's see. Booking.com, today's sponsor. We want to thank you very much. Don't forget about your Booking.com question of the week. Get that in by Thursday night. Don't forget to click on the link in the description for our All-Star Party. That's right. There it is again. Next Tuesday, July 16th in Arlington, Texas. Come join us. I think the VIPs are sold out, but still, you can just join us to watch the entire game, grab some brews, do some trivia, and just have an all-out great time. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Tommy Young, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Booking.com.